Hey guys, good morning. Come on in, sit down, stay a minute. um, anyhow, it's nice to see you this morning. So today on Table Talk, I want to talk about a few different things. Um, so over the last week or so, I I've been thinking. Well, it's probably been longer than a week actually about uh everybody should have a cause, and I have a I personally have struggled for a minute trying to figure out what I want my cause to be. You know, and where I wanted to head with it because there's so many worthy causes. Whether it's homelessness, addiction, cancer, and I really have grown a passion for equality. Um, Social and racist equality. Um, why I don't know, but this seems to be where my heart is taking me, so to speak. And so I think I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to try my best to keep talking about it. Um, I really feel that in our society, the minute we quit talking about it and put something on the back burner, it doesn't necessarily go away, but less gets done about it. So I want to do my part. Samantha, Sam, please, thank you. Um, I really want to do my part to keep the conversation going um, when it comes to social inequality, racial inequality, just inequality in general, I think, but my main focus on those two. Um, by keeping the conversation alive, I hope it keeps more people thinking about it and what we can do to make it better. So anyhow, that was my initial thought, but I have this really cool story to share with you. And if you want to see the I'm going to tell you about it, but if you want to see um, it on video, it was about a lady named Miss Pearl. She was on the Kelly Clarkson show a couple days back. If you just type in Miss Pearl on the Kelly Clarkson show on Google, it'll bring it right up. But I watched it live. I watch a lot of daytime TV because I'm home during the day, other than on Saturdays and Sundays. So I get to watch a lot of talk shows and cooking shows, which is awesome. But anyhow, Miss Pearl, she's in Chicago. She runs a place called the Roseland Community Daycare. Sorry, I had to write all this down because it really is a story that deserves justice. Um, and this daycare houses children of moms who are trying to better themselves and go to school. She operates this daycare. She charges nothing to run this daycare. She started this daycare because her daughter, who was in high school, came to her while she was working a job as a printer and going to school. Um, Her daughter comes to her and says, "Mom, I have this friend who has a baby and is really struggling with childcare, and it's starting to hinder her education, and she needs help." Well, Miss Pearl gave it a little bit of thought, and she decided she would help. What turned into one child being watched turned into 50 children being watched. Miss Pearl gave up her dream and what she was doing for the benefit of these moms and these children by opening this daycare. She opened up her first daycare by bidding on an abandoned building, and all she had was $500, and some people in the business community and people in her church donated the rest of the money so she could start to get this abandoned building. So what she did, what her thing was to be able to turn nobody away. She's never turned anybody away that needed help with child daycare who was trying to better themselves. And even if you were working, you know, and needed help, she would help you, but she always encouraged you to go back to school to better yourself. She has been a major influence on this. Um, you know, and with that, just the power of that in and of itself. Um, Listening to they had a couple people on there that she had mothers that she had helped in the past that were very grateful, and the one lady who's actually going to get her master's degree now had talked about how the Mrs. Pearl was so passionate about helping these other women succeed that it wasn't uncommon that when she would come to pick up her children, which was usually late because school would run over, there were no boundaries, no set times, as long as it had to do with your education. School has weird hours at times. But she would come in and Miss Pearl would have a full meal ready, a dinner meal ready for this young lady, for her and her kids and her husband. So that way, when her husband got home from work, when she got home from school, they didn't have to take the time to make a dinner. She could utilize that time to study and help benefit herself and help improve herself. I think that's absolutely amazing that this woman has so much passion and care for her community and to see other people succeed. She's been doing this now for, almost 30 years. But, she never wavered from helping other people fulfill their dreams. And I think that's important. I wish more people had that. I wish that this wasn't such a rarity that we celebrate it not only because it's a great thing, but because it's a rare thing. This is like helping your neighbor out, kind of on a grand scale. So when she's been doing this for a long time, when the pandemic hit and COVID hit and schools were being shut down, a lot of the kids that she had at her daycare were able to stay home. So to continue her, her cause to help ease the burden of parenting, to give the children a safe place to go to, she took the children of healthcare workers, in the Chicago area. So they didn't have to worry about with the other daycare shutting down. That way they didn't have to worry while they were at work saving lives, about where their children were going to go and what they were going to do. She let them know that this is a safe, it's a clean environment, it's healthy, and they were secure there, and they were, So now, they just, and this is really just awesome. This is how much Miss Pearl cares about others. So now they've bought a new building, and they opened up a coffee house. But it's not just a coffee house. It's a 2-story building, and on the first floor is a library. The library is for after-school programs and for e-learning. And she's just getting off the ground. They just got the building finished. They still need to get books and tables and all the necessities that come with it. But what she's doing is providing some place for these kids and young adults to go after school that is a safe environment where they can learn, they can do their homework, their children have books they can read and things they can do after school until mom gets out of school or off work or out of school, depending on how their schedule is. There are going to be computers there, so that way, matter of fact, I know there are going to be computers there. If you watch the Kelly Clarkson snip, you'll see why. But anyhow, the computers are set up for e-learning for now for the pandemic. So kids that come there that are doing e-learning instead of being physically in school, they can do their e-learning during the day. Kids that are in school can do their homework. Moms who need to focus on getting a GED or doing homework for their classes in college can come there and do their homework. They have a quiet place to study. They can have a cup of coffee, you know. And I really felt the need to share this story because this woman is an amazing woman and has provided such a selfless act, you know, and asked nothing in return. That's the amazing thing. That's the true definition of a selfless act. Is doing something for somebody else and not expecting something in return. I think that today everybody does things, but a lot of times they are looking for something in return for that, and that's not the way it should work. You know, I don't think at all. So anyhow, that's the cool story of the day. It's also kind of the main story of the day. The rest of it's just kind of random thoughts, things I've been thinking about. Um, yeah, with Valentine's Day being a couple of days ago, you know, and celebrating, it was kind of funny. Me and my wife don't buy each other conventional things. Like, I don't necessarily buy her flowers. This year I actually bought her a tree. It was an azalea tree. It blooms. It has flowers. It's actually quite beautiful. But I give my daughters a small thing of flowers every year and a stuffed animal. Even my oldest daughter, who's now grown and on her own. Um, but it's something I've always done. And so I left all my stuff at work. You know, we have a cooler at work, so I was able to keep the roses in there. And it's hard to hide an azalea tree in your house and not have everybody see it. So I left it at work also. So that way it was a surprise on Valentine's Day. And I had a handful of my employees thought it was crazy that I bought my wife a tree, you know, azalea tree. No, it's not huge. It's like maybe 2 foot tall at most. Um, but really, so I I explained to them that, you know, that's something my wife likes. You know, flowers and chocolates is so cliche. Yeah, so I brought those home. The girls love the flowers. They love their little stuffed unicorns because that's what they got this year. Everybody seems to be into unicorns at the moment. And then I made dinner. Remember, Valentine's Day isn't. It's hard to celebrate love when you celebrate it every day. I guess is my thought on it. Yeah, I mean, we get each other little things. My wife got me the greatest gift I think I've ever received, and I can't wait to use it. And it's a pestle, you know, for grinding up fresh herbs and whatnot. As a matter of fact, I even have some fresh sage there. So yeah, I was thinking about Valentine's Day, and the women that have been in my life that I love, and it's not just my wife and my daughters, you know, my mom, you know, who passed a few years back, um, and the way that she loved me, which was awesome because I was not an easy person to be with through my formative years. You know, I was angry most of the time, didn't do things right. But her and my great aunt Norma, who also they never let me completely fail. They were always there to pick me up, dust me off, you know, and in some cases catch me when I would fall. And how much I learned from them. That's what I was thinking about, you know, on this Valentine's Day. You know, my mom would always listen, and she was a great listener, and she taught me how to listen indirectly. You know, because the more I thought about it as I got older, the more I realized the importance of it. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give somebody is to listen and not talk over them or try to always give them advice. Sometimes people just don't want advice; they just want to talk. And I carry that through as best I can through everyday life. Still learning. As you grow older, you're always learning. Um, you know, my aunt was always there. My great aunt, she taught me life lessons that I didn't listen to at the time. You know, like when she told me that I never wanted to live beyond my means. You know, because I was, you know, busy spending money and getting credit cards, and you know, and putting myself in major debt to the point where I was kind of in gridlock. And she kept telling me all the time, don't live beyond your means. Well, now I get it, and we don't. Um, but these are the things that they always looked out for me. And I always tried my best, what I thought was my best, to look out for them. But, and I think I did an okay job. I failed sometimes. People fail. That's a fact of life. But no matter how many times I failed, they were there by my side. And I always took for granted that was because we were a family. No, it's because they truly loved me unconditionally. And that's, like I said in my last video, love is unconditional. You love someone, faults and all. And they loved me, faults and all. I think that's awesome. I think that's something we can all take from that. It taught me that, that it's okay to fail. And you just pick yourself up. I got this. I want to read this to you because this is kind of what started it all to some extent. And it was in the Mr. Rogers book that I've been reading as of late. But it's a little quote. He says, "What's the story he tells?" But it's not but a paragraph. It says, "A young apprentice applied to a master carpenter for a job. The older man asked him, 'Do you know your trade?' He said, 'Yes, sir,' the young man replied proudly. 'Have you ever made a mistake?' the older man inquired. 'No, sir,' the young man answered, feeling certain that he would get the job. 'Then there's no way I'm going to hire you,' said the master carpenter, 'because when you make one, you won't know how to fix it.'" And I thought that was awesome. I see it all the time in everybody, mostly in younger people. They're scared to try anything new or different or something that they may fail at. It's okay to fail. That's how we learn. Lord, when I started, when I got my first automobile, we didn't have a lot of money, so it wasn't like my car was, I was a teenager and I didn't, have a whole lot of money, but it wasn't like I could afford a mechanic. So I had to learn how to fix my car when it broke itself. Well, how did I learn? I learned by failing a lot, and that never changed or never changes. There's always something. It's like cars aren't nearly the same now that were in the 80s, so I'm always learning something new. I have better tools to do it with. When I first started, there wasn't Google, there wasn't YouTube, so I couldn't just look up, this engine code or whatever. I had to learn by trial and error and read on how the systems worked. I had to go to this thing that's called a library and check out a book, which is really weird. And that's how I learned to fix things, on cars. I learned woodworking the same way. Woodworking I learned from watching programs on PBS on the weekends, and I thought, wow, that looks interesting. So I did it by trial and failure. Nobody becomes a professional at anything overnight. They learn it by practice, trial, and failure. If you don't try, you'll never succeed. I mean, that just holds true. So it's okay to fail. You're gonna fail. Edison made 1,000 mistakes making the light bulb before he made one that worked. But he never gave up. You can never give up, and you should always try. That's how you learn new things. That's how you become successful. That's how you do most things in life. Is try. It's okay to fail. And then, and if you do fail, let's say you try something new, like I'm starting to learn how to build rockets or make fish, fish tanks, or cook a new dish. I cook a new dish. I cook it the first time. I follow the directions to a T, but something goes amiss and I fail. The food turns out horrible, or it tastes funny or whatever. Does that mean after the first time that I just quit cooking, quit trying new dishes, just go back to boxed macaroni and cheese and bologna sandwiches? No. I try it again. I can't tell you how many times. Here's the worst one is when, you make something the first time and it's a complete success, and you're riding high on those endorphins because you made something that tastes fantastic, and then you go to make it again, and even though you follow the same steps, the same principles, you fail then. You know, that's a worse feeling than when you fail the first time. But it's okay. It's going to happen. Failure is going to happen. You know, it's like having a number one record on your first record, and then your next record's a flop. And everybody hates it. They criticize you. That's a horrible feeling. You know, it's always, you know, it's always harder when you get it right the first time than it is the second time. You're going to have failure. End of discussion. And you know, when you fail, it's a teachable lesson. It doesn't mean you crawl in your corner, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because Lord knows I've failed. You know, I've been yelled at for it. I've probably even been fired from it for my job before. You know, it's how you hold yourself. It's a life lesson, and one you're going to continually learn. And the more times you fail, the better you get at it. That's just God's honest truth. Practice makes perfect. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become a professional at anything. You know, so keep trying. And if you have the right environment, it's okay. I have learned this was probably the last thing well, it's not the only thing I was thinking, but it was another thing I was thinking about was how you can tell your true friends. Or a way you can tell your true friends. And those are the ones, your true friends are like your family. They're there to support you and encourage you. Now, by support, it's not always going to be positive. You know, I know I've had one of my dearest friends in the world, you know, when I think I have the greatest idea in the world, I mean, he'll be the first one to say, yeah, that's a great idea. Or he'll be the first one to say, yeah, but did you think about this and the potential for this? It doesn't make him a negative Nancy. It doesn't mean they're not on your team. You know, it just means that they're what they're trying to do is open your eyes to potentials that you may not have seen. And that's a good thing. Now, you know, hopefully they don't do that all the time, because then they may have something going on that, you know, just isn't right. They're like, oh, well, I'm a negative Nancy all the time. Well, you don't want to be that, but it's good to have that input. Like your friends, my thought, because I know in my circle, none of my friends are like me. You know, they all have something different that they bring to our friendship. You know, as I have something different that I bring to their circle of friends. You know, because it's not like we're the only people we talk to, but they add something different. They give me a different point of view, or, you know, but at the same time, I know that my circle of friends are there when I need a hug, when I need somebody to help me move or help me do anything, you know, as I am there for them for that. So I think that's important. It's just that group of friends. On kind of a sad note, I have two electric blue Acara fish. They're absolutely gorgeous. I know they're in a couple of my fish videos. I think when I showed off my fish tanks, and they're a mated pair, a boy and a girl, that I've had. Well, I've had the girl Martha forever, and we've had Ace, the male, for a good long while now, a couple, 2-3 years, I guess. And Martha is sick. And I don't know how much longer she's going to be around, and I don't think I can fix her. So that being said, I had done I talked on one of my fish videos about how fish kind of show emotion. You know, they show loneliness, they show sadness, and I really, watching these two fish in the tank, I see that. I have watched them for a couple years, you know, chase each other around the tank, have a good time, never leave each other's side really, other than when they would eat. or it wasn't time to make babies. Um, but now with Martha being sick, and not doing well, being old and being sick, Ace has not left her side. She doesn't move around so much. She just kind of swims in a corner unless it's feeding time. And Ace is truly right by her side, down low, where it needs to be. Samantha, please. You're going to float away. Yes. In case you haven't heard in a previous video, my dog, Samantha, who is right there, does not have a shutoff valve. She doesn't know when to quit drinking. And she will drink her entire gallon of water all at once if you don't stop her. Now, I don't want to put it, I don't want to take it up off the floor, take her water away, because I know I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. So I have to get her to stop, or she'll be over there every 2 minutes trying to suck down that bowl of water. So I'm not trying to be mean to her, in case you're wondering. She's actually an amazing old dog. But I don't want to see her get an upset stomach from drinking an entire gallon of water all at once. So anyhow, but yeah, it shows that, they do have some, they're not just dumb fish, you can tell even if it's instinctively, he cares about her. He's not leaving her side. He knows that she's not well. And so he's there to kind of do what he can. I think that's awesome. That's selflessness. Once again, it's selflessness. This is like Miss Pearl. He is stopping what could be, stopping what he's doing, in order to do the right thing by taking care of his other. And I think that's awesome. In a way, it's sad that Martha's not doing well, but, at the same time, it's amazing that Ace is there by her side through this. Fish are smart. I don't care what they say. All right, that's really all I had it was just really a lot of random thoughts that I had and some things to think of. I really do want to continue to find snippets and bits to talk about when it comes to social equality and all that stuff. I don't want to quit talking about it, even if it's just a quick story or a reference of some kind in a story, which I think I've tried to provide every time I talk, but I could be wrong. And even today, Miss Pearl, this story, not only is she being an outstanding neighbor, but she's helping to promote equality by giving these mothers the opportunity to help themselves to a better life, and to have a better income and to be more socially equal on the financial level. That's awesome. Hands down. I respect and admire this woman to no end and always will, and I can't wait to keep following the story of the Roseland Community Daycare in Chicago. Now that I know about it, I will keep an eye online just to see how things are going, and I can give updates. It'll be great. All right. I think that's all for today. I know I'm going to try to do, I don't know what we're cooking tomorrow for Wednesday's dinner yet. It may just be roasted chicken. I had set chicken out a couple, 2-3 days ago in the fridge. It's probably still frozen solid. This fridge is incredible. In that aspect, it's an energy hog because it's old, but it keeps your stuff cold. So we may do roasted chicken this Wednesday, or we may, I tell you, that honey garlic shrimp that we made a week or two ago, I didn't film it, but we had it for dinner one night. That was absolutely amazing, and it is a quick, simple, easy dish. We may do that. With the barbecued pulled pork that I'm getting ready to can, that's probably going to happen this week. Now, I personally don't make it. Chris does. But I'll be there for it. I'll probably film her making it and tell you what's going on. Chris isn't much of a video person. But we'll work it out because I really would like to show you guys how to do the pork. and then I may find a new recipe to do on top of that. Or instead of that, there's all kinds of things I want to try canning wise. For years we've canned, different things, mostly salsa and applesauce. Salsa and applesauce, pickles we can do without question, and tomato sauce, anything involving a vegetable, basically. It wasn't until here recently we got into doing proteins, beef, chicken, steak, pork, uh, it, canning that's processing that stuff. And I hate saying canning because we don't put it into cans; we put it into jars. So it kind of is weird, but in my mind, but we now, so I'm trying to broaden my horizons with it and take you along with me, if you so choose. Of course, I know you'll choose if you watch it, but if you don't, it's okay. Um, but I know we're doing pulled pork. I think I may try doing some Dijon mustard, because that sounds fun. And that'll probably be it because we can't really do any jams or jellies at the moment or preserves. There's just not a whole lot to choose from when it comes to quality fruits and vegetables at the moment. Um, and plus, I still have tons of apple butter and blueberry jam and stuff like that. So I don't really need to make any of that. So, or oranges or apple slices. Although I tell you what, we could do or may do if I get the time. We may make a pie. I know I've been dieting, although I've lost some weight. I think my belly doesn't look nearly as big, and I haven't baked cookies or pies or cakes in what seems like forever. At least not so far this year. Quarantine kicked my butt with weight, and I had to drop it. It usually doesn't take me very long to drop weight, but now that I'm back to being active again, I feel like I'm getting a little less pudgy. I don't mind being pudgy, but I don't want to be pudgy. Um, we'll look at maybe making a cake or a pie. I'm dying for a pie, and I've got apple pie filling canned up downstairs. I've got pumpkin ready to go in jars. I tell you, if you jar pumpkins, A, it's easy to jar a pumpkin. B, it makes it even quicker to make pumpkin pie. So we made 3 pies this year at Christmas time. And we made an apple pie, a pumpkin pie, and a pecan pie. I have a praline with pecans in it that I canned up. That's basically the base for a pecan pie without all the pecans. Um, that down there, so we made all three, and all three of them were fantastic. And I got a pretty good dough recipe that I'll show you how to make. I actually got it off of Joy of Baking. She's an amazing baker. But anyhow, I have rambled on for long enough. We have been at this for 34 minutes, and I think I've taken up enough of your day. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I'm so glad you stopped by. I love you very much, and I want you to tell somebody else you love them and make their day a little better. All right? I will talk to you later. I hope you have an awesome day. Just an absolutely awesome day. All right? Love you guys. Bye.